Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sydney. For those who have come afar, you've chosen a perfect day to come. It hasn't been like this for the last 2 weeks, so we're very lucky and fortunate that you've come at the right time, and I'm sure over the next 2 days you'll have a great time here in Sydney. Look, it's an absolute honour to be here to represent the Honourable Mike Baird, the Premier of New South Wales, to welcome you to Sydney and to the Luxperience Thought Leaders Forum for 2014. I understand from what I've been told that many of you are visiting Sydney for the first time, and I hope that you enjoy your time here and hopefully get a chance as well to see other parts of our great country here in Australia. In fact, just last week I was looking at the Pinterest page for Luxperience and came across a number of quirky facts about Australia that were actually news to me. For example, we are the one country that governs an entire continent, despite the fact that we have the third smallest population density in the entire world. Our first police force was formed here in Sydney in 1789, made up of the best behaved convicts that we had. And as somebody in politics, we have a former Prime Minister, I read, that held the Guinness World Record for drinking 1.4 litres of beer in under 11 seconds. So we've really made it here. But look, there are a few, despite those facts, there's three key things that I thought I would like to share with you this evening. First, why I think what you are doing is very important, the kind of tourism interest that we have in Sydney at the moment, and our plans to transform the city of Sydney even further. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the great things about living in the age that we do today is just how connected we are to parts of the world that in previous generations we would really have never known about. Globalisation, transport and technology have all combined in a way that I don't think we have ever seen before. I think that the internet, social media especially, have helped raise awareness of the interesting places to visit and things that do exist around the world, and sometimes even on our own doorstep. I mean, who hasn't looked at a Facebook page or Instagram and seen a great tourist destination and thought to themselves immediately, I have to go there? And that is really the way I think that tourism is changing and providing greater opportunities across the board. But it's just not here in Australia venturing overseas. It's also the many people from the rising middle classes of Asia who are venturing down under. We have come a long way in terms of tourism in just a short space of time. And all of this presents many opportunities to you to connect the high-end luxury traveller with the kinds of experiences that they want. And there's no doubt that you are working in a growth industry, and as the world becomes even more connected and more affluent, there will be an increasing demand for the services that you provide. According, as I was reading last week, to Travel Talk Mag, luxury travels, quote, want to get healthy, explore unknown territory, give something back and immerse themselves into the local scene. And they want to do this all while staying at the same exclusive resort as George Clooney. And that's quite a challenge. That's quite a challenge for you to deliver, but I'm sure over the next few days here in Sydney, the talks, the presentations and the exhibitions will help you work out just how to provide that product. Can I say, though, that you couldn't have chosen a better location than here in Sydney, Australia's global city, to begin your visit. And you aren't alone. We've had a 14% increase in people choosing to come to Sydney and New South Wales to experience a luxury holiday, with over 685,000 visitors in the year ending March 2014. These visitors stayed 2.6 million nights and spent more than $1.3 billion in this state, an increase of 13% and 12% respectively. In fact, luxury visitors to New South Wales represent around half of Australia's luxury visitors, and our share of the Australian luxury visitor nights and expenditure is more than a third, at around 34%. I know that your clients expect nothing less than memorable experiences, and I think that Sydney and New South Wales are very well placed to offer up these experiences through events, accommodation and culture. But we are not resting on our laurels. In 2012, the New South Wales Visitor Economy Task Force set a goal to increase our overnight expenditure from $18.3 billion in 2009 to $36.6 billion in 2020. Through a number of initiatives, we have been steadily working towards this goal. In fact, just last week, the Deputy Premier of New South Wales announced that Sydney has secured a landmark 5-star hotel as part of a new world-class precinct at Darling Harbour. The new luxury Sofitel will have around 600 rooms and be a standout feature of the $2.5 billion transformation of Darling Harbour. This new hotel will join other recent purpose-built 5-star hotels in Sydney, including the Darling at the Star and QT Sydney in the historic Gowings and State Theatre buildings. Our focus on gaining visitors is also why New South Wales has set aside 2 sandstone buildings in the heart of the Sydney CBD for tourism purposes. These 2 sandstone buildings are currently housing government bureaucrats and officers. So whilst it wasn't pleasant news for them that they have to move, they were sitting in prime Sydney real estate. And the opportunities that have come for us from that, from these buildings, which we have seen are too expensive to maintain, they are constantly underutilised, and many of the heritage aspects of these buildings are locked away from the general public. So what we're going to do is open up these buildings to the potential of being world-class tourist facilities and accommodation right in the heart of the Sydney CBD. This will create jobs, increase tourism, and be a significant boost for our local economy. As emerging markets start to compete for the investment and tourist dollar, we need to ensure that Sydney is at the top of its game. Ladies and gentlemen, Luxperience is a great opportunity to do business. Last year, the organisers say that $70 million of future orders were expected to be generated within 12 months by buyers, and 90% of people were likely to attend again. I note that this year, the number of exhibitors has grown even more, which is a good thing, despite the fact that I think there's possibly a few too many from New Zealand, but we'll let that slide. But can I say, I really thank you for choosing to visit here in Sydney. I encourage you, as I said at the start, to make the most of the next few days that you have here. And with that, I officially declare Luxperience 2014 open. Thank you.